Hello, this is Mr. Henry, and this is lesson 3.7, Solve Percent Problems. The essential question is, how do I solve percent problems? Okay, first thing we have a couple get-to-goofs that are dealing with our proportions from the last lesson or two. So let's solve them first. First off, this problem there's no work, so I have no clue if the answer is right or wrong. SpongeBob and Patrick can catch 12 jellyfish in 3 minutes. Let's move him out of the way. So they can catch 12 jellies in 3 minutes. Jellies, minutes. How many could they catch in 50 minutes? Well, 50 minutes would have to be this guy. We do not know how many jellyfish they could catch. So we cross multiply, we would get a 3x here. And 50 times by 12 is going to give us, I think, 700. 50 times by 12, 600. Divide by 3 to solve, x equals 200. So this answer was way off. Number 2. Mario rides Yoshi 4 times in 7 levels. Okay, 4 times in 7 levels, or maybe 4 rides. I like that label better. 4 rides in 7 levels. So rides, levels. Okay. How many times would Mario ride Yoshi in 20 levels? Oopsie. This is 20 rides, not 20 levels. So the 20 levels should be here. And we do not know how many rides, so that's our variable. So we cross multiply. 20 times 4. 20 times 4 is 80. 7 times x is 7x. Divide by 7 to solve. X equals 80 divided by 7. Something funky like, yeah, that. 11.43, we'll call it. And that's 43 rides. So Mario would ride Yoshi 11.43 times in 20 levels. Alright, so today we're talking about percents. Now we're still going to be using proportions. So first off, percent. What is it? Well, there's a couple different definitions you can use for percent. I have 3 of them. There's more than this, but this is pretty good. Percent literally means, if you'd break down the word, per cent. A cent means 100. Like a centipede is the bug that has 100 little legs. 100 years is called a century. Every penny is worth 1 cent because it takes 100 of them to equal $1. So cent literally means 100. So per cent means per 100. It's also talking about a part of a whole, or you could say out of 100. The second word, proportion, which we talked about in the last couple lessons, is an equation stating that 2 ratios are equal. We got that. That one's pretty easy. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve. Do some percent problems. So what we have here is, it says, what number is 30% of 55? Now, to do this, what we're going to do is we're going to use something called the percent proportion. Okay? So to use this percent proportion, what we're going to do is, the percent proportion looks like this. This is kind of the formula. First off, proportion. This number down here is always 100. The number above it is always the percent. So it's percent over 100. The first part of the proportion, this is the number after the word of. And this is, as I had an old teacher used to say, whatever the heck is left over. He called it the Withillo proportion. Withillo stands for whatever the heck is left over. So once you've plugged in these other 3 pieces, if there's a number left over, meh, that's where it goes. So let's check this one out. So that's always 100. This is your percent. 30%. This is the number after the word of. This is whatever the heck's left over. Well, there's no other number left over, so that is your variable. Now we cross multiply and solve like we did before. So 100 times x is 100x. 55 times 30, let's see, we got 55 times 30 equals 1650. All right. To solve this equation, we have to divide both sides by 100. Divide by 100. X equals 16.50. And there's no label, so this is just the number. So 16.50 is 30% of 55. Letter B. So we're using that same formula, this same kind of percent equation. Let's move it over a little bit. There. So, let's see. This is 100. This is my percent, 78. The number after the word of. 117 is 78% of what number? Well, we don't know that thingy. So the of number is our variable. So the other number we haven't used in this problem yet is this 117. So that's the whatever the heck is left over piece. Now we cross multiply. So we're going to take 100 times 117 gives you 11700. 78 times x, 78x. That's the cross multiply. Next we solve. So we divide by 78, cancel. Divide by 78, x equals, let's see, we got 11700 divided by 78 equals 150. So 117 is 78% of 150. Simple enough. Letter C. Find the percent of 50, or what percent of 56 is 21. So first off, 100%. I don't have a percent. That's my variable. Over here, the of number of 56, whatever number is left over. So percent over 100, and I don't know, the way I learned it in middle school was is over of equals percent over 100. So the one next to the is of percent 100. It's kind of the same deal. So now we cross multiply. 100 times 21 is 2100. 56 times x is 56x. Solve. So we're going to divide both sides by 56. And x equals 2100 divided by 56 equals 37.5. And we're done. Okay, let's have you give a try to a problem. So here's letter D. Pause the video, do it. When you're ready to continue, hit play. Okay, so let's see here. We got, first off, set up the proportion. So we have percent over 100, the of number. Of what? And whatever's left over is the 18. Now, we cross multiply and solve. So 100 times 18, and x times 30. Solve. So we divide by 30 here to get the variable by itself. Divide by 30 there. We get x equals 1800 divided by 30 is going to give me 60, I believe. $18 is 30% of 60. All right. So we did one problem on your own. Here are letters E and F. Please try these two problems right now. Pause the video. When you're ready to continue, hit play. Okay, let's see. Letter E. Let me set up my proportion first. We got percent. What percent? Percent over 100. The of number, whatever's left over. Cross multiply. So this guy times this guy is 7980. 95 times x is 95x. Divide by 95, divide by 95, and we get x equals, let's see, I need to do that. 7980 divided by 95 equals 84. Letter F. What is 75% of 124? Okay, so first off, we got this guy here. Percent over 100. The of number is 124. Whatever number is left over. Well, there's nothing left over, so that's our missing piece. What number? Okay, and cross multiply. We got 100x here. We got 75 times 124. Let's see, 75 times 124 equals 9,300. Divide by 100 to solve for x. Divide by 100. See, 0, 0. So we get 93 is our solution. Okay, so that is how you use this percent proportion. Now, you should find this percent proportion is actually really easy. The hardest part is going to be setting it up. Once you have it set up, it's very simple to solve, and it's very hard to mess up as long as you followed it's percent over 100, the number after the word of, and the other number. Usually it's around the word is, but it's whatever number's left over. Okay? So here are 6 problems out of the book. I'd like you to try. They come from page 176 through 177, numbers 1 through 6. Please do them right now. Okay, so let's do these problems together. Number 1, what percent of 20 is 15? All right, number 1. We got 100. We do not know the percent, so that's our variable. The of number is 20, so of 20, and the other number is 15. So cross multiply, we get 1500, that's that times that, and 20x. Divide by 20, divide by 20, x equals, it's going to be like 300 or something. $75. I was way off. See? Always do your math. Always double check your math with a calculator. Number 2. What number is 30% of 900? Okay, so we got our proportion. Percent is 30. That's always 100. The of number is 90. And there is no other number, so that's the missing piece. Cross multiply, we get 100x equals 2700. And then we divide by 100. Divide by 100 to get the variable by itself. X equals 27. Okay? Now, I know the directions say use the percent equation. It's kind of like when I talked about how there's like 3 or 4 different ways to solve proportions. There's a bunch of different ways to solve these percent equations. Or these percent problems. But what you'll find is this percent proportion always works, and it's simple. It's something we already know how to do, so why learn something brand new that does the exact same thing we've already learned? The percent proportion works, it's easy to set up, it's easy to solve. I'm not going to do this other method because we're going to get the same answer. There's no need doing it another way. So I'm doing it the same way. Number 3. What percent of 56 is 49? All right, so first off, proportion. There's our 100. We do not have a percent of 56 is 49, the other number. Cross multiply. So we got this times this gives you 4,900. 56 times x is 56x. Divide by 56. Divide by 56. X equals, I don't know that one. 4900 divided by 56 equals 87.5. Alright, make sure you got it because I need to erase to do the next three. 3, 2, 1. Too bad. Alright, numbers 4. Let's see, number 4. Proportion. That's 100. This is our percent. What percent? Good question. The of number is 55. The other number is 11. Cross multiply, we get this times that gives us 1100. 55 times x is 55x. Divide by 55 to get the variable by itself. Divide by 55 over there. X equals, divided by 55 equals 20. Number 5. What number is 45% of 92? I heard 45%. That's where the percent goes. Of 92. That's where the of number goes. The other number that's left over is our x, because we don't know. Cross multiply. 100 times x is 100x. 92 times 45. 92 times 45. 4,140. Let me double check that. 92 times 45 equals. Alright, I'm good. And then I divide both sides by 100. Divide by 100. X equals, let's see, if I divide that, I'm going to get 41.4. And if you don't believe me, divide by 100. Told you. But it's always good to double check your answer. Number 6. 100%. Now this is the first time we've had a percent bigger than 100. I don't care. Leave it. It's 140. That's your percent. The of number is 50, and the other number is our variable. Cross multiply. 100x. 50 times 140. I could probably do that. It's going to be like 9,000. No, 7,000. Divide by 100. Divide by 100. These guys cancel out, so we have our variable by itself. 0, 0, we get 70. Hopefully you had some success. You see it the same stuff we've been doing forever now. We've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is the 12th of these you've seen. So hopefully by now you are getting some success and finding they're not really too terribly hard. Now let's see some real world problems. It's going to be the same stuff, but now instead of just giving you a simple inky dinky problem, they're going to wrap up this same information but in a story. That's all. So letter A here says, Nathan and his family went out to eat and the food bill came to $56. You have to pay 6% extra for tax. How much is their tax? So you're trying to find out what the tax is. The tax is 6% of 56. So the question I'm asking myself in my head is, what is 6% of 56? What is the tax? 6% of the 56. If you're able to write out a question like this, what is 6% of 56? We know how to solve that. We just did it like 12 times. You set up your proportion. 100% of number. The other number, we don't know what it is. What is? Now, we cross multiply. We get 100x. 56 times 6, that's 330. No, that's not what I said. 56 times 6. 336. Divide by 100. Divide by 100. Over here we've got x equals 336 divided by 100 is 3.36. So their tax, since we're talking about money here, we need a label in our word problem. Our tax is going to be dollars. So their food bill came to $56. The tax, the extra amount, is going to be $3.36. So does this answer make sense? Yeah, it makes sense to me. It's not something big. Now, if you got something like, if you have the decimal in the wrong spot, you had like $33, that would not make sense. I mean, if your food bill was 56, it would not make sense to have an extra $33 in taxes. That's way more than we'd expect. Letter B. In a room with 550 people, 112 have blue eyes. What percent of the people had blue eyes? Okay, so we're trying to ask ourselves one of those questions. So it's asking for percent. So I'm going to start with saying what percent. So what percent of the room had blue eyes? So what percent of 560 is 112? What percent of the room has blue eyes? That sentence makes sense in my mind. So what percent? The room had 560. The blue eyes is 112. So now we just solve that thing. So proportion, 100. What percent? Good question. Of 560 is 112. Cross multiply. 112 times 100 is 11200. 560 times x is 560x. To solve, we divide by 560 here, so they cancel. X equals, divide by 560 here, gives us something. I don't know. Divided by 560 equals 20. So about 20%, because that's our label, it is percent, 20% had blue eyes. Okay. So, we've done two together. I'd like you to do this problem. I'm going to read it to you, and then I'll have you pause the video and try it on your own. It says, in a school there are 990 students. 30% of those students can speak a second language. How many students can speak a second language? Pause the video, work through it. If you need just a little help, play for a couple seconds so you get the help, the step you need, then pause it again and try to do as much as you can on your own. Okay, here we go. So how many students can speak a second language? So we're trying to find out 30% of the students can speak a second language. So 30% of that, 30% of the students can speak second language. All right, whatever. So 30% of the students can speak second language. So now let's write this as a math problem. So 30% of 990 is, do I know this? No, that's the whole question. Is what? I don't know what that is. Is what? So now we can write a proportion. 100, 30% of number, whatever's left over, we don't know that piece. Cross multiply, 100x, 990 times by 30. 29700. Divide by 100. Divide by 100. and x will equal 297 students. Second language. So 297 students can speak a second language. So this would be an example of like a verbal model. It's kind of like the in-between point between the actual word problem and our math problem. Then we took the verbal model and changed it into our question that we could then change into our proportion, which we then cross-multiplied to get an equation, which we then solved to get our solution. Lots of steps. Okay. I would like you to do 2 problems out of the textbook. These come from page 178, numbers 3 problems, 7, 8, and 9. You know the routine. Do the problems on your own. Pause the video. When you're ready to continue, hit play, and we'll go through them together. All right, number 7. 100%, 62.5. It's okay that's a decimal. That's our percent. Of what? We don't know the of number. So we cross multiply. 100 times 65 is 6,500. X times 62.5 is 62.5x. To solve this thing, we divide by 62.5, divide by 62.5. These cancel out. We get x equals 6,500 divided by 62.5 equals 104. That was number 7. Number 8. Number 8 here says 50% of 125 is what number? Okay, so proportion. 125% of what? Don't know. Is 50, the other number. Cross multiply. 100 times 50 is 5,000. X times 125 is 125x. To solve, we divide by 125. These cancel. X equals 5,000 divided by 125. 5,000 divided by 125. 40. Done. Okay. And I need to erase to do number 9. In 3, 2, 1. Alright. Number 9. Says in example 5, this is the information from example 5, what percent of the students choose fettucine alfredo? Alright, so fettucine alfredo is here, so let's see. We're trying to find what percent. So what percent we can rearrange this a little bit. We can say 22 is what percent of what? Now, the reason why I did this is the of number is always the total amount. So whenever you have a fraction, the bottom number is the total, the top number is the part. So part over whole. You might have heard that as far as fractions and stuff goes well. Well, it's the same thing. I know the 22 is part of everybody. So this is kind of like your is number. That's why I rearranged it. 22 is what percent of what? What is the total? Okay? Or of what? Yeah. Now, to do our proportion, we have 2 thingies here we don't know. We don't know the percent and we don't know the total. But we can find the total. We can add these guys together. So let's do that. Let's see. 3, 6, 7, 8, 14, 19, 20, 0, carry the 2, 10, 14, 17, 19, 20, 21, 22. So there's a total of 220 students. So 22 is what percent of 220? That I can do. We do not know the percent. The of number is 220. That's the total number of students. The is the part of the students. Cross multiply that v'd out. We got that times that is 2200. On this side, we got 220x. Divide by 220 on both sides. Divide by 220. And x equals, I'm pretty sure this is going to be 10. 10. And our label is percent, because we were asked to find what percent. 10% of the students chose fettucine alfredo as their favorite. Okay, so in the summary box at the bottom, how can you solve percent problems? Give a sentence or two, a thought, a paragraph maybe. How do we solve these percent problems? Something I'm thinking, it's got to be something along the lines of, well, we set up the percent proportion. So set up percent proportion, and percent proportion is percent over 100, the of number, and whatever the heck is left over. So that's your percent proportion. Set up that thingy, period. Cross multiply, then solve. Cross multiply, then solve. How do you solve percent problems? Set up your percent proportion, cross multiply, solve. That's it. Okay, homework. Comes from pages 179 and 180, numbers 2 through 22 evens, and number 33 through 35. This has been lesson 3.7. Thanks for tuning in.